Hey, what's up YouTube? It's me, DevAF. I am doing something a little different this week than my typical jams, which is that I'm gonna be talking to you in a little catch-all vlog segment that I'm calling Squarepulse. If you like what you see, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, etc. so that way you find out every time I publish one of these. And yeah, cue intro music. Cool. This week, I'm going to be talking about something that is important to every DAWless jammer out there, which is that moment when you finally decide to hit the stage. It's a slightly different thing than playing at home in that suddenly you're going to be up in front of a bunch of people and you have to make sure all your gear works, and sometimes it's kind of hard to plan everything. So I'm going to talk through my 5 tips for getting ready for your first live show as a DAWless jammer, and hopefully you like my tips, and if not, that's okay too. Just, let me know in the comments. Tip 1, assign your gear a function per piece of gear. I think that this just helps a lot in creating simplicity as you're getting ready for your set. For me, I knew I needed drums, samples, bass, and a lead synth or something to play chords off of, and that was kind of it. And then obviously like a mixer of some sort, or maybe you want to have the house mix your stuff. Assigning each piece of equipment a specific duty makes it so it's a little simpler when you're actually playing live, because one of the problems that you might have is, okay, cool, this is gonna play bass for this part and then it's gonna play chords for this part. Suddenly you're switching things up and there's an opportunity to fuck up. So first tip, assign your gear a function. Second tip, keep it simple. You're going to have a lot on your mind the night of the show. Or maybe you won't. Maybe you're one of those people who just never gets nervous about anything, and that's great for you. But for me, I definitely was not wanting to be thinking about, okay, cool, I need to switch between this and that and etc. I need to keep things simple. What that meant was keeping my effects on one preset the entire time. That meant keeping all program changes programmed by my sequencer / sampler, my Digitact. Just things like that. Like the less steps per changing song, the better, because that just meant that, hey, it's one less thing to think about as I'm cruising through my set, and it gives me an opportunity to maybe even like ham it up a bit. I can actually talk to the crowd and be like, hey, what's up people, thanks for coming out, all that stuff, instead of being like, hey, I need to change a million settings real quick. So that's kind of, my second piece is just keep it simple and really focus on just the gear and tweaking it versus having to change presets, change settings, all that stuff. Try and program as much of the program changes as you can, or keep the effects on one setting the entire time. Things like that, just to try and automate it. Tip number 3, if you want to record your set to see how it sounds, don't rely on the venue. I learned this lesson the hard way. I had a friend do the mixing one night for one of my gigs. They had a thumb drive in the mixer that was supposed to work. Thumb drive was corrupted. I ended up with no recording of my performance. No real videos either, because I didn't hit record on my GoPro. Flash forward to 3 months later when I'm playing my second gig. I brought my own audio recorder. I went and spoke to the person at the venue to hook it up. They didn't know how to set up an aux out of the board. Again, I'm trusting the venue to record my stuff, and it's the last thing on their goddamn mind. So the best thing you can do is figure out how to record your own stuff, whether that's like an aux out of your mixer, or you have a friend kind of handle it for you. Just assigning that duty is really helpful. The good news is my second gig, I did actually record a GoPro take of the entire thing, which here's a little clip of it. And I had a lot of friends film, which was also helpful. Here's another clip of it. But generally, if you want to record, or you want like an archival sort of look at your footage or what happened, do it yourself. because if you don't, you're not gonna have it. You can't rely on the venue to do it for you. Tip number 4, practice, practice, practice. One of the things that I noticed when I was getting ready for my live set was that I was freaking procrastinating a bunch. Like, I was nervous and I kept putting off practicing because I was like, I don't want to practice because what if it sucks? And that honestly is a bad mentality to have. The more you practice, the more smooth it is on day of. And I can't recommend it more. Just carve out time, like clear your damn schedule for the whole week and just spend it pretty much practicing up until the show, because it just makes it a lot smoother. And then also, one thing about each practice or each run through the entire set is finding like, okay, cool, I am freaking not good at this part and I need to redo it. The other thing when you're practicing is timing it. I would always set up my phone on like stopwatch function and time it, see how long the set was in its entirety. And also when I performed, I'd also set up that stopwatch so that way, hey, cool, let's see, how long I've been playing for, so that way I'm not like, vamping it too long or like whipping my way through the set, like just, turning a 5-minute song into a 2-minute song or something like that. And the final tip, and the most important tip, is that playing shows is supposed to be fun. So have fun when you're out there and try and smile and look out. And I know sometimes it's like, you just want to be looking down at the synths because it's safe, or you want to be looking down at your pedal board because it's safe. And it is, and it's nice, and it's warm, and it's comforting. But if you can look out and you can see if people are having a good time, or if you can freaking get on the mic between a like clear gap in your set and say, hey, thanks for coming out, everybody, it makes all the damn difference. And it's fun, and you hear people cheer, and it's like a whole thing. If people are there to cheer, maybe they aren't, it's okay. But my point is, you get to hear your music extra loud. That's awesome. And you get to just do something different than your day-to-day. And that's where you need to find that fun. Because if you're having fun and people sense that you're having fun, then they'll start having fun and they'll feel loose. And I think my friend had this one philosophy, which was, he'd show up to parties in like costumes, and he'd always be acting like so crazy at parties and saying like weird stuff and run around and being like the wild man. And his philosophy was always, if you can be the wildest person in the room, then you elevate the entire room's wildness, because they're like, well, at least I'm not as crazy as that guy. Same thing goes with having fun. If you're having a fucking blast on stage and you're just like vibing, guess what? People aren't going to be as afraid to start dancing or vibing as well. So those are my 5 tips. I'm going to run down them one more time for you really quickly. Assign each piece of gear a function. Keep it simple. Keep changes to a minimum. Record your own shit. Practice, practice, practice. And most of all, have fun. Those are my 5 tips for switching from being a DAWless bedroom jammer to hitting the stage. And comment if you have your own tips, or if you think like I'm totally off base here. And also, if you like what you saw, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll catch you at the next one of these Squarepulses. Hasta la vista.